welcome to another video. And yes, that's my horse behind me, but this is not going to be a horse video. I am going to be doing a little bit of a property update. I want to jump into, and you probably see that the title of this video is We Found a Ginormous Hole in the Ground. We bought this property. The grass was almost as tall as me, and some places it was taller than me. So we started mowing it, and we found this concrete, which I'll insert this picture right here. And as you can see in this picture, there's concrete like sticking up out of the ground. You can see there's kind of some scattered around a little bit. This is kind of right in front of where our campers are, so it wasn't really ever a good time to like dig around it, which I would have been videoing sooner, but I was not. And these concretes that you will see in this video, a couple of pieces were on top, and then there was one big piece that he like pulled up, and it was like half buried in the ground, half not, and it was a real big piece. So I am gonna roll this clip. So I'm over here out of the sun, but we knew when we bought this property that there was 2 houses on this property, and they buried them. And there's always been some concrete sticking up, and this just wasn't right, and like there was a few holes. Get it figured out, and we wanted to flatten it so there wasn't like this big hill and concrete sticking up. And we went over here, and my dad started digging a huge hole. So you can see there's like pieces of house stuff buried. That's the concrete that we pulled out right on top of the surface. And then there was a piece of concrete like right there. I wasn't videoing, and I should have been, and it fell in that hole, and it's gone. So we're not really sure how deep that hole is. My husband is getting a sump pump, and we're gonna try to drain the hole out and see what's under there.
I wouldn't suggest falling in there though. I don't know.
You can see that's a really big hole back there. We are not sure what it was. They're thinking a cistern maybe, or a sewer, but as deep as it is, we are thinking it's some kind of cistern. And they're trying to pump it out right now to get some of the water out of it, so we can fill it back in, but we're trying to get a lot of the water out. So that's what they're doing right now, but it's a ginormous hole. Pump in there, trying to get some of the water out so they can fill it back in, but it is very deep. If you have any idea what it might be, but we're thinking it was a cistern. Starting to fill the hole back in. It is ginormous. Hopefully you can hear me. Kind of walked away a little bit, so because they're still trying to work with the hole. We're not exactly sure. We knew when we bought the property that there was 2 houses buried here on this property because it used to be 2 parcels, and we know kind of where the one house is buried, and it's kind of right where that house was buried. And they ran into some of it when they put our septic tank in. They ran into some like vinyl siding, and we're not sure if this was from when they buried and dug a huge hole and pushed the house in it, or if it was some kind of cistern. It was awful round to be part of what they buried, but again, it was kind of open to the elements. Like there was a big piece of concrete, a couple of them kind of just placed with on top of the dirt, and some of them were buried and some of them weren't. And we knew that there was a hole down in there because my husband would throw stuff down in there and we would never see it again. So we don't know, with it being like not covered up all the way, if the rain was just getting down in there and that's maybe what caused the round shape of the hole. But again, it might be a cistern, and we're never really gonna know. We weren't here when they dug the house and buried him and all that stuff. So it's just very interesting, and we never had to deal with anything like this in Ohio. And my dad dug a lot of holes in his life. In construction, he dug a lot of holes and played in the dirt his whole life. So it's just very interesting that we came across this, and we're just trying to fill it in so it's not a sinkhole later, and we can just, you have a firm ground and not have to worry about sinking. That's kind of our next priority, is trying to get enough dirt to put in the hole so we can get it level, and it's just so deep and ginormous. So this was unexpected. We knew we had to kind of dig and see what was going on, but we were not expecting this humongous hole. So always something. Using daylight, but this is what it looks like so far. We can actually walk in it if we wanted to. Like getting it covered back up. This is where you've seen them digging and where they found the ginormous hole, but it's all covered up now. We had to put some stone, some dirt. We broke up the concrete that you've seen, and you've seen him putting that in the hole. So this is what it looks like. I'm sure it's gonna settle, but as of right now, you can't even tell that there was a hole here. And this dirt right here is for our house foundation over there. So this next part, I'm over here by the shop, and my dad has been doing groundwork over here. So you've seen in this clip right here all this dirt by this shop, and he has been moving it over away from the shop because eventually we want to add on to the shop and just get the dirt away from the building and level it out to make it look better, and two, eventually add on. But so this is what he is doing, taking it from one spot and putting it into another, but it's for a good reason, because we need it to be moved. is where the dirt is now. So we moved it from right over here to right there, and it's in a much better location. My dad was able to flatten that ground out over here, and we are actually going to be using this dirt for our garden. So this dirt's not going to stay here forever, but for right now, that's where it is. And hopefully we can work on our garden soon and get that started, because I am very excited for that. Those are the two small doors. This area right in here, I'll go in there in a minute and kind of explain what we're doing in there. But those are the two small doors on the side. And then over here is where he flattened all this out. You can kind of see it used to like drop off right here. And now it's all leveled out and goes over to the pasture. We have to get rid of all that yet. But over here, this is the two doors that I was just showing you. And eventually this is going to be like the shop. My husband works on cars. He's a mechanic. He does body work, all the things as his hobby. So if you want to see those videos, let me know. I keep saying he needs to open his own business, working on vehicles, but he has not pulled that trigger yet. So if you want to see that, drop those comments down below so we can convince him. But I think from a little past this post right here is going to be concrete. I'll come over here and kind of show you. So there's the walk-in door. And I think they're going to go to like the middle of this wall right here, and it's going to come and go over there, and this is all going to be concrete. And they're just going to pour a little bit of a walkway to the door. And then all this is going to be just stone or dirt for the equipment storage. So over here is going to be a shop. This is going to be equipment storage. And then eventually, which is something we're going to be doing soon because we need the storage, because most of our life is in storage unit right now or being stored in Ohio still. And obviously we need to get all our stuff from Ohio down here. So, and get our stuff out of storage because that's expensive. So we are going to build a loft above these doors and a little bit over here, I think. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it, but my dad and my husband have been talking about it. So a loft above the doors. I'm not sure how far it's going to go out. Probably at least to that pole right there, if not further. And I think they're going to have stairs coming up over here. And we will be able to put stuff that we don't need all the time up here in the loft. And I think they're going to take and do something from here to there, kind of like a catwalk, but bigger than a catwalk for more storage up high as well. So like our Christmas decorations and just miscellaneous stuff that, you don't need all the time. And so we have a place to store it. You definitely can never have too much storage. So that is the plan for in this shop at the moment. Here's the outside of it, and you can kind of see the shop will be in the back of it, storage in the front. Again, we still don't have doors. That's why we don't have a lot of our stuff here yet. But we need to get doors ordered and get them put on. It's not going to be an easy task getting the doors put on because this is so high. And where we don't have concrete up in this front part, the people that we order the doors from will not come install them. So that's kind of why we haven't done this project yet, because it's going to be a little bit of a project for my husband to install these doors by himself, or even with some help. It's not going to be fun. But that's kind of the next project we need to get on, is to close this building in. Here is where I was just at, but on this end of the building. Horse barn is here. Here is the back of the horse barn, and we are going to have to add on to the back of this because we need room for hay storage. I'll take you in a minute and show you the hay storage we got, but it is not enough, and we will be getting more hay, and we potentially get like one first cutting, and that's all we need for the whole year, but we need a place to put it. So first cutting is what we have been using from last year, and we're hoping to be able to get first cutting again this year. And so we have to add on to this. We're going to put like a lean-to onto it for hay storage, and I think we're going all the way around, all the way from one end to the other on the back of this for storage. This is our hay storage currently, which is all we have is right here. And we are going to be going back to Ohio in a week or so, and we have to get obviously more hay because we're about out, and we're getting a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to bring down here. And you're probably asking, well, why don't you just put hay in the other barn? Well, that's going to shop, and that's where we store the equipment. And my husband's a welder. He works on cars. He grinds on vehicles. So there's sparks and fire, and you don't want that stuff by your hay because obviously you don't want to burn anything down. So keeping it separate is the best idea and the safer idea. So that's why we are going to be adding on to the back of this barn. So this is where the horses are, and where I was just at is on the other side of this. So that's kind of what our plan is at the moment. The pond update that you probably don't care and didn't ask for, but I'm going to give you one anyway, because my dad's over there in the excavator and it's kind of hard to hear. But it's not as full as it was, obviously, if you've seen those videos, but it seems like it's staying at a constant level. I think my dad might try to come over here at some point and try to dig some of them out, the ones that he can reach. I know he probably is not going to be able to reach this because I don't think his excavator will reach that far. But I think over there on the other side of the bank, there's not so much of a width right here. And we also have a whole bunch of dirt, as you can see. So we were talking about maybe putting some dirt in enough to where he can have like a level base and then reach it and get it. But it's not on the priority list, but we would really like to get this cattail out of here, because I think if we get the cattail out, it would help this pond tremendously. I think there is some frogs in it and starting to get some, I don't know, critters. But if we could get the cattail out, I think that would help. If you have any suggestions on how to get cattail out, besides pulling them out, drop your comments down below. That would be greatly appreciated. I am standing like on the edge. I don't want to go really any further because it starts to drop off, as you can tell right here. So it's very steep. But again, the water at some point was up to here. So it holds water, just not a high level of water. Here you can tell it's a gradual slope, and then over there it just goes straight down. So we just need to figure out what we want to do with it. It's not on the priority list to do anything with it right now, honestly, but we kind of need to get the cattail out. So I don't know if my husband will go in it this late spring when the water gets warmer and start pulling him out, or if we can see if we can get my dad's excavator over here and he can safely pull them out. But as you can tell, we have other things to do. He's over here doing stuff. So just not been on the priority list. The foundation still looks like we are still waiting on block to be delivered for the block foundation. So not much to update here. But we do have some really big house updates coming, like really big. So stay tuned for the next video, which will hopefully be them laying the block, and I'll have some big updates for you. But this is going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching and enjoyed the property update and seeing all the things that we've been getting done. And don't forget to subscribe, because we have some really big, exciting house updates coming. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for those videos, but I will see you in the next video.